Thank you, Chairman, and I'll try to be brief. Last year, we hired Christian Capital Advisors to produce a report for us. It's about 80 or 90 pages. We paid $165,000 for an expert to give us independent advice. And two things really jumped out at me after the last hearing in March and based on CCA's report. And that concerns the state's ownership of VLTs or leasing them under this proposed legislation and the central management system. Briefly from the report, I won't refer to the individual. I'll just say Christian Capital Advisor says, as described in this report, the vast majority of slot machines in North America are purchased rather than leased at a percentage of gaming revenue. The math behind this is simple, and that is why it's easy to see why greater than 85% of owners, 90% of casino owners of gaming devices choose to buy rather than lease. And so we went and we actually ran the numbers, Mr. Chairman, and frankly, I think they're staggering.
Oh, I just want to say that if you're going to go through a presentation, that's not going to be allowed. If you are making a statement from that, we can do that, because otherwise we'd go back and forth and you'd have to have another testimony. So
I'll make a statement then.
Okay.
So under the current proposal, we are going to pay the IGT Twin River Partnership $728 million over the 20-year life of this contract for these 5,200 machines. And that's because we pay them 7% of net terminal income. So we looked at, Mr. Chairman, we said, what would it cost the state to buy our own machines? And if we were to buy our own machines and replace them at 10% per year, which is higher than the 6% in the contract, we would only spend $208 million over the 20-year life of the contract to buy our own machines, replace 10% a year, compared to the 6% in the legislation. That comes out to an overpayment to the IGT Twin River joint venture of $520 million that we are paying them in excess of what it would cost us to buy our own machines. That is dramatic and striking. In addition to that, our independent advisor, Christian Capital Advisors, said, you don't need a central management system. You don't need it. But if you do need one, if you really want one, you can get it for around 1% of net terminal income, compared to what's in the proposal of 2.5% of net terminal income. That comes to a state overpayment over the life of the contract of $135,200,000. Overall, that comes to, both of those overpayments comes to about $33 million a year in overpayments to the IGT/Twin River joint venture. $33 million a year we could save if we bought our own machines, which we can do easily. There's plenty of vendors out there. They'd give us terms. We could pay them over 5 years. We're buying 5,200 machines. We have a lot of leverage. $660 million total we're overpaying. The numbers are on your spreadsheet. It's simple. It's in our independent report. And I provided this information to you back in March, Mr. Chairman, and asked that we have our independent consultant come down here to Rhode Island and talk about these two issues. We've already paid him to do it. In his contract, it includes 2 trips down to Rhode Island where we can explore and flush out these issues. Do we need a central management system? Can we use the one in Kansas that they're paying IGT 1.2% of net terminal income rather than the 2.5% we're paying under this contract? $660 million of taxpayer money is going out the door. I don't think it's the right decision. We paid an expert to come down here. Let's bring him down here, have another hearing, and hear what the man has to say. I asked you in March, Mr. Chairman, to do that. I followed up in April. I asked you again last Thursday, and I haven't gotten a commitment to use the man we've already paid a bunch of money to advise us. There's a lot on the line here. $660 million, Mr. Chairman. We'd be foolish to go ahead with this without hearing from our independent advisor. And the fact that some people don't want to hear from him should raise the hair on everybody's neck. Thank you.